In the grand halls of power, a bold declaration echoes. A leader stands before the cameras, revealing a staggering truth: over 1 million lives lost in conflict. Yet, amid this chaos, a new force rises, unexpected, fierce, undefeated. Imagine a formidable army composed of 70,000 women, ordinary women transformed into extraordinary warriors. They may be a small fraction of the total military, but their spirit ignites a revolution. War isn't won by mere numbers, it's driven by unbreakable willpower. Today, on the fiercest battlegrounds, over 5,500 women ignite the front line. They wield rifles with determination, control deadly drones, and harbor burning vengeance. While the official forces fall under command, these women carve their names into history. Their fight is a nightmare for the enemy, a beacon of hope for Ukraine, yet beneath these figures lie stories of unimaginable tragedy, as profound as the darkest films. One such story belongs to Tatiana. Her tears don't fall in silence, they turn into the firepower that fights in Bucha. That massacre, frozen in global memory, claimed her husband and brother-in-law in a single hellish night. The Russian invasion didn't just tear down walls, it shattered her past, her future, and her hopes. Her battered apartment, a mirror of Ukraine's destruction, echoes her pain, trembling as she whispers, "My mother is gravely ill, she may not survive." She also bears the weight of a missing cousin lost near Avdiivka, a silence that screams. But victimhood is not her destiny. Instead of waiting in despair, Tatiana chose to stand. One of 70,000 brave women. She refused to surrender her life to grief. Her uniform is not the garb of sorrow but armor of fierce quest for justice. She fought not just with tears, but with a will to revenge, transforming pain into power. This is the essence of the Ukrainian female army: resilient, unyielding, and on the path from tragedy to legend. Amid the rubble of a devastated apartment in Bucha, inhaling the acrid stench of charred remnants, Tatiana could have surrendered to despair, waiting for aid in a refugee camp like many others. But she refused, one of 70,000 sisters in arms. She donned not the cloak of a grieving widow, but the camouflage of a vengeful fighter. What if I told you that among Ukraine's front lines, women aren't just supporting roles, they're dismantling Moscow's iron grip with unrelenting fury? Can you picture the sweat-stinging eyes, the dirt-encrusted hands gripping rifles, more than 5,500 of these warriors standing at ground zero, where life and death merge in a chaotic storm? In armies worldwide, women largely handle logistics or nursing. Yet in Ukraine, they peer through sniper scopes, unleash artillery barrages, pilot FPV drones to shred enemy refineries. Their defiance shatters ancient war myths, turning the battlefield into a canvas of unyielding courage. But imagine a different path for Tatiana, a tale of broken dreams and shattered futures. Her husband's blood staining those haunted streets, her cousin vanished in the Avdiivka inferno. Why did she choose the roar of gunfire over silence? Because grief birthed a firestorm, transforming her from victim to victor. These aren't isolated flames, but a raging inferno of transformation. Ukrainian women arrive on the battlefield with faces forged in fury, not just emotional, but expertly honed. Picture the muck-slicked trenches of the 47th Mechanized Brigade, where Astara wields the deadliest tool of modern combat. Russians sneered, assuming women fit only as cooks, bandaging wounds in the rear. How wrong they were, a colossal blunder echoed in obliterated tanks. Astara, in the UAV unit, twists a joystick with fingertip precision, reducing distant Russian armor to twisted scrap worth millions. She dismantles millennia of dogma, stating flat, men aren't inherently tougher. Gender fades, irrelevant amid locked targets and obliterated foes. Her comrades nod, fingers dancing on controls, the whir of drones a symphony of destruction. Smell the ozone-scented air, feel the vibration of incoming alerts, as she humiliates male-centric pride with elegant brutality. Twist alert: could a mistake like this topple an empire? Venturing deeper into the abyss, we reach Bakhmut, a grinder devouring souls. Svetlana, once a healer in healthcare, hands mending lives with gentle touch, lost her son to Russian shells near this hellscape. Maternal warmth morphed into commanding steel, her unit encircled, leaders vanishing in the fog of war. Panic clawed through ranks like a rabid beast. Seizing control, the ex-medic barked orders, repelling attackers with feral precision. She didn't tally her losses, but the Russians she erased, safeguarding allies from oblivion's jaws. Far from anomalies. Tatiana, Astara, and Svetlana embody the norm. Ministry stats reveal, by 2025. Over 70,000 women swelled Ukraine's ranks, a whopping 20% surge since Russia's 2022 onslaught. More jarring, over 5,500 dive into frontline maelstrom. Amid war's grey grind, they inject vibrant human defiance. Think of a truck laden with fighters, tarp wrapped against the world, voices blending in Ukrainian folk tunes, defiance pulsing amid looming shadows. No victims wail, but warriors anthem, severing enemy morale like razors. In trenches, beneath bomb whistles, two sing Bella Ciao, joy a fortress against despair. Dirt coats faces, sweat slicks grips, but laughter defies doom. Even solo, a woman hums with rifle ready, her beauty clashing war's ugliness, like Amazon's reborn. Russians, starved and forsaken, face these singing specters, hearts drained by the asymmetry. While their side deploys convicts by force. Ukraine volunteers its finest women, dying to live, rewriting war's calculus. Russia's muscle meets intellect, drones piloting with feminine finesse, stereotypes crumbled. Law and society evolved, pre-2018 bans lifted, women now combatants, shattering gender chains. In that truck, hearts synchronize, courage infused, erasing fear's chill. How does jubilant resolve humiliate a tyrant's terror machine? What unseen resilience lurks next, ready to pivot fate? In the chaos of war, there are moments that shake the very foundation of fear. Picture a bleak, battered truck. Tarpaulins drape it in shadow, isolating it from the outside world. Inside, brave Ukrainian women sit shoulder to shoulder, perhaps on what might be their final journey. The air hangs heavy, thick with unease, but suddenly, their voices rise. They sing a folk tune simple, yet powerful. The melody doesn't matter. What counts is the unity, the unbreakable spirit. This singing isn't a plea for mercy, it's a declaration of defiance. Like guerrillas severing enemy supply lines, their voices cut through the battlefield's roar. Inside that cramped space, these women absorb each other's fears, transforming dread into unwavering courage. Their song is a shield, a weapon more potent than any missile. Now, the scene shifts to the deadly trenches. Narrow, unforgiving slots where death's icy breath is all around. Under a collapsing sky, two Ukrainian women stand firm amid falling bombs. They sing Bella Ciao, defying the chaos, daring it to break their spirits. Perhaps moments after, a mortar will erase their position from existence. They sense it. They feel it deep within. But joy remains unbroken, they cling to it as their final refuge. While destruction sweeps through cities and power plants, these women's laughter and singing remain untouched. The Russian leader's missiles may devastate buildings, yet it cannot crush their spirit. By pretending they've forgotten the war, they shake off its psychological chains, showing resilience that defies logic. In another scene, a soldier stands alone, serenading with her weapon in hand. Her voice cuts through the smoke and ruin, her face a portrait of grace amidst horror. Despite the modern time they live in, these women resemble the Amazon warriors of myth, fierce, unyielding, and unbeatable. How do enemy soldiers feel when they witness this indomitable resolve? To be abandoned and starved, to face unprepared enemies with high morale, this is the nightmare they never expected. These women aren't just fighting, they are rewriting the rules of war itself, with strength born from pain, unity, and unwavering hope. In the rugged mountains and rolling hills, Ukrainian women are serving with unwavering resolve. Their weapons are not just tools of war but symbols of resilience. Imagine the shock for Russian troops, abandoned and under-equipped, wounded, with hope fading fast. When they see these women singing as they fight, they might feel like haunted spirits, invincible and unstoppable. But these women confront adversity with more than just songs. They stand unwavering, training tirelessly with heavy gear that would challenge even the strongest soldiers. Miles of march, sweat pouring down their faces, muscles aching, yet their discipline remains unbreakable. Their readiness is as tough as steel, their courage unyielding, pushing beyond what many would consider delicate. Now consider how their presence shifts the game entirely. For decades, the Kremlin believed war was a realm for brute strength, muscles, size, physical dominance. Ukraine has shattered that myth, introducing innovation and technology that turn the tide. Today, the most effective warriors aren't those with raw power, but those with sharp minds, experts at controlling advanced drones, analyzing intelligence with patience and precision. A Ukrainian female artillery commander once told me, "Our strategies are evolving. Women have proved they are not just equals to their male counterparts, they often outperform them. In areas like drone piloting, sniping, and data analysis, they excel. These roles demand patience, fine motor control, and focused skills that women now showcase on the front lines. This transformation is more than just a change on the battlefield, it's a societal revolution. Before 2018, women in Ukraine could not serve in combat roles. That restriction was a barrier to strategic growth. Now, with over 70,000 women in uniform, 20% more than at the start of the conflict, the nation's defense has doubled in strength. Every step forward, every brave woman on the front line, challenges old notions. They have become the heart of a new kind of warfare, smart, swift, unstoppable. As they fight not only with rifles but with intellect and passion, the question remains, how long can adversaries ignore the rising power of these modern warriors? In the face of brutal force, where Russia waves its human tides like a storm, Ukrainian women rise, not as equals alone, but as masters in skills demanding sharp focus, like guiding drones or analyzing threats. Their intellect shatters Moscow's reckless assaults. What nightmare awakens the Kremlin when forbidden paths become highways to victory? Before 2018, Ukraine barred women from combat roles in military schools. It was a wall of tradition, heavy as stone underfoot. But the war's thunder cracked that barrier wide open, transforming restriction into a surge of strength. Now, equality blooms as a bold strategy, doubling Ukraine's shields against invaders who blunder blindly. Look at the academies today, 1 in every 5 cadets wears a skirt, their boots echoing with purpose. This isn't mere progress, it's a fortress forged for generations, where battles reward bravery and heart, not just muscle or pride, to fend off Russian threats forever. And oh, what terror does this twist into Russia's propaganda machine? Their loud claims ring false, Ukraine drafts women in desperation, they shout. Lies as sour as the stench of fear in the trenches. Instead, these warriors volunteer freely. Each step a dagger to the heart of coerced soldiers shivering under Putin's whips. Picture the clash, a weary Russian conscript, dragged from his shackles by force, faces a Ukrainian guard whose choice burns bright, fueled by lost homes, orphaned dreams, and a rage hotter than artillery fire. Who's the victor here? The one driven by love or locked in dread's icy grip? Motivation's roar decides fates on the front. Whispers of victory over screams of defeat. These heroines endure even the storm of their own bodies. Some fight shrouded by pregnancy's mystery, hidden in mud-choked foxholes, bombs howling above like feral beasts. After birthing life anew, many march back to the fray, their resolves unyielding. Russia's harsh world could never mirror this depth, where every mother, daughter, home stands armed against tyranny. Putin schemes to crush the army, but ignites the soul of an entire people. A war not of regiments, but of unbreakable wills. At the tale's dawn, Putin boasts honoring Russia's sons. Yet now, we see the truth unfolding. His arrogance smashes against the unbreakable courage of Ukraine's daughters. Defeat looms. But for whom? Will Russia's pride survive, or crumble to dust in the face of these unstoppable forces? The air thickens with suspense, as the next chapter reveals the ultimate clash of fates. In the recent revelations, it becomes clear that Ukraine's 70,000 women fighters are more than just soldiers, they are symbols of hope, resistance, and the future of a free Ukraine. These brave women are seen as the embodiment of justice for Bucha, resilience in Bakhmut, and the unstoppable force driving Kiev toward independence. Their unwavering determination suggests they will carve a path to victory, leaving a lasting legacy that cannot be ignored. But behind the heroic facade lies a disturbing truth. As the world celebrates Ukraine's daughters, Russia's military secrets are unraveling, exposing a desperate and systematic collapse. Moscow's intelligence leaks reveal a crisis so deep that the Kremlin is now turning its gaze inward toward the women caught in its collapsing army. Reports indicate that Russia's manpower reserves are nearly exhausted. The draft is no longer just for men, increasingly, women are being pulled into the chaos, not as volunteers, but as prisoners forced into service. This battalion of women, recently formed within Russia's military, is not composed of volunteers, these women are prisoners. They are not selected for honor or duty, but parceled out like expendable commodities. Instead of defending their homeland, they are ensnared in a bargain made under duress. The options? rot in Siberian prisons or face the front lines with rusty rifles thrust into their trembling hands. Most of these women were promised support or administrative roles, yet they were thrown into the chaos, unexpectedly tasked with combat. Their stories are not narratives of bravery, these are tales of coercion, manipulation, and social decay. Meanwhile, on the Ukrainian side, every woman's act of taking up arms pulses with purpose. Their fight is born of free will, driven by love for their children, their land, their future. Every shot fired, every drone flown, echoes with the spirit of resistance, a stark contrast to the forced mobilizations within Russia. Here, women do not just serve, they lead, strategize, and inspire. Their presence is rewriting the very definition of war, defying outdated stereotypes, and smashing the illusions of Kremlin dominance. The shocking truth is this: while Ukrainian women uplift and defend, the Russian regime is collapsing under its own weight, its desperation laying bare its vulnerabilities. Russia's military machinery, once feared, now shudders at the sight of these women. The battle lines are drawn not just with weapons, but with hope that will outlast bullets, and a resilience that will echo long after the conflict ends. Who will emerge victorious when the spirit of these women refuses to be broken? The answer, perhaps, lies in the unyielding flames of their hearts, igniting a revolution no force can extinguish. In recent reports, intelligence experts revealed a disturbing trend within Russian military ranks. As casualties mount and morale wanes, the command has turned to an unlikely remedy: recruiting women for combat roles, not out of choice, but out of desperation. These women are often pulled from behind the scenes, lured by promises of medical aid or administrative work. But once within the ranks, many find themselves thrust into the front lines with rusty rifles, deployed as shock troops in assault units. If an attack falters, the Russian command orders these women to don civilian clothes and conduct covert reconnaissance, blending into local communities like silent shadows. Recently, units reported that 2 Russian women sent to infiltrate Ukrainian positions in Pokrovsk were promptly neutralized. This startling fact exposes a crumbling military force increasingly reliant on its own women, an act that symbolizes exhaustion rather than strength. While Ukrainian women like Ostara wield drones with surgical precision, turning the tide of battle with finger on joystick, their Russian counterparts are used as pawns, bait at the base of the chain of command. They clear minefields, draw fire, or serve as decoys, often placed in the most perilous situations. How long can women, forced into combat, threatened or promised debts forgiven, truly endure? A fighting unit that mistrusts its members, despises its leaders, and doubts its cause is set on the brink of collapse from the inside. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian front echoes with the powerful sound of victorious songs, music born of conviction and purpose. These melodies are more than just morale boosters, they are affirmations of resistance. The women fighting with pride know exactly what they're defending: homes, futures, their very independence. In stark contrast, the forced and often despised Russian Women's Battalion, assembled under duress, stands as a hollow symbol of a waning empire. Every cheerful note resonates as a slap to the Kremlin's facade of masculine supremacy. It's impossible to ignore. While tanks roll and missiles fly, the genuine fighters, the fearless Ukrainian women, are rewriting the narrative of war. Their victory isn't measured solely in territory or casualties but in the indomitable spirit they embody, shattering the illusion that might alone can win a war. This is the real story, one of resilience, defiance, and unbreakable willpower in a battle that is, ultimately, about who dares to stand tall. In the shadowed corridors of the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin steps before the cameras. What shocking truth does he unveil? The Russian leader declares a grim reality: on one side, over 1 million military losses haunt his forces. On the other, Ukraine's angels emerge, not drafted troops, but a formidable army of 70,000 women. Why is this a game changer? Because war isn't just about numbers, it's about unbreakable will. Today, at the fiercest front lines, over 5,500 female fighters wield rifles, control EFFPV drones, and harbor pure vengeance in their hearts to obliterate invaders. While Putin's troops die under orders, these women carve legends that turn Moscow's ambitions into nightmares, shattering any hope for Russian victory. Now, imagine the gilded halls fading as we turn to the human cost behind those stats: a 70,000-strong female battalion that feels like an epic tale ripped from Hollywood reels. But these aren't mere figures. They weep, rage, and rise. Is history repeating a cycle of tragic heroism? Can one woman's grief fuel a nation's resistance? Picture the air thick with the acrid scent of gunpowder and the cold bite of betrayal. Feel the weight of shattered dreams pressing down. Tatiana's voice trembles as she recalls Bucha's massacre, where Russian atrocities claimed her husband and brother-in-law. Her home stands as a ruin, mirroring Ukraine's torn soul. Her mother's illness clings desperately. A cousin vanished in Avdiivka's hell, silent and lost. Yet, Tatiana rejects despair, transforming grief into steel. No refugee camp waits, she dons a uniform, seeking vengeance, not solace. Her armor echoes the cries of 70,000 others, each face of sorrow morphing into warrior resolve. Woven from threads of personal tragedies that defy the frost of war. But what if sheer anger wasn't the only fuel? These women reveal a professional metamorphosis, challenging outdated military stigmas. In the muck-streaked trenches of the 47th Mechanized Brigade, a deadly weapons master defies norms. Step into the reek of damp earth and echoing booms, where Ostara commands modems turns to ancient combat myth? She laughs at the notion that men alone possess battle prowess. Gender fades as an illusion, her joystick dissolves Russian tanks into scrap, miles away. Precision stings like a surgeon's cut, delivering MQ-9 Reaper devastation on command. No bluff here, only targets locked and foes erased. Proving technical skill trumps brute strength in Ukraine's battlefield equation. Yet, the darkest tales unfold in Bakhmut, a city's grinding horror where humanity fractures. Evoke the sulphurous haze of artillery, the gritty tremor underfoot as Svetlana evolves from healer to fierce leader. Before the invasion, she saved lives as a healthcare worker. Now, her son's death by shellfire births an avenging force. Surrounded. In the heart of Ukraine's battle zones, thousands of women stand unyielding at the front lines. While most armies around the world reserve women for support roles, Ukraine has shattered that myth. Over 5,500 women are now fighting directly amidst the chaos, snipers, drone operators, artillery specialists taking the fight to the enemy. Beyond those on the front, thousands continue vital nursing duties, tending to the wounded, managing logistics. But the true image of women in this war has evolved. No longer confined to care, they become hunters, eyes sharp with determination, waiting silently in trenches. This transformation is a profound declaration of resistance, more than just personnel numbers, it's a symbol of a nation refusing to surrender. While Russia recruits prisoners and sends troops without training, Ukraine dispatches its bravest women, volunteers driven by purpose, not obligation. They're willing to face death, not because they're forced, but because they're fighting for life itself. This stark contrast is shaping the war's outcome, the asymmetry that could decide everything. In the gray, cold landscape of war, hope appears in unexpected places. Imagine a young Ukrainian woman riding beside a driver toward the front. Outside, shells explode, smoke drifts across the horizon, yet she smiles, calm, fearless. That smile is a direct challenge to the empire of fear. The Kremlin believed missile strikes could crush Ukrainian spirit. Instead, it has awakened a generation of women who face death with unwavering courage, laughter echoing amidst chaos. But behind that bravery lies a darker truth. Women are risking everything, their stories writing a new chapter of resilience and defiance. Yet even in their unbreakable spirit, a question lingers: what happens when the front lines shift, and the danger looms closer than ever? Will their courage hold, or will the darkness finally overpower their light? The answer remains hidden in the storms of war.